Be recorded.
Okay, thank you all for joining us for this our social media marketing for small businesses, and we're excited to have Tyler Von Hatten from Social Paragon. He's going to be doing the presentation on social media, and we're just excited to have you here. If you have questions, please feel free to just put comments in the chat, and then I will ask Tyler if it's something about something specific, or we'll wait till questions mostly at the end of the presentation. So Tyler, why don't you go ahead and get started?
Okay, perfect. Well, first off, thank you for letting me do this. This is pretty cool. Not a lot of people know. I guess a lot of people know about marketing. What I have found when I talk to small businesses, a lot of people don't exactly know how to do marketing nowadays. And so I'm going to go over just a few really simple concepts, really kind of get into the bare roots of marketing nowadays to make it a little bit more understanding, make it a little bit more easier to kind of navigate these waters. So just a short introduction of me. My name is Tyler Von Hatten. I'm the Director of Business Development at Social Paragon. Social Paragon is a videography agency. We do a lot of videos for small businesses and things like that. I am a little bit, I guess, fun trivia. I am a facial hair advocate. I currently have a beard. In the picture, I don't. My wife makes me shave it 6 months out of the year, so I don't get to grow it all the time. I love small businesses. I graduated from UVU with a degree in marketing and business management. So I learned a lot there, but I've definitely learned more with working with Social Paragon since I graduated. So let's just jump right into it. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about your business, your audience, kind of getting back to the basics. A lot of new businesses are kind of at the basics, but a lot of more seasoned businesses are have kind of evolved and things like that. So sometimes it's good to kind of at least see where you were, where you are now, and then go from there for your, with your marketing strategies. Second, we're talking about the history of marketing, kind of helping us understand where things were and where things are now, which will take us to, marketing nowadays. And then my personal favorite, which I think is super important, is video marketing. So first off, knowing your product. Again, everybody starts their company kind of really understanding, their trade, their product, their service. And then as, the company kind of evolves, sometimes we kind of keep that, that same kind of mentality, whereas sometimes the values have shifted a little bit to make things a little bit more specific. And so taking kind of a really kind of back seat, look at your company and look at the products and services you guys are offering, will really kind of start where you need to, go with your marketing endeavors. So really kind of getting down to the brass tacks of what you guys are doing, what you offer, and what gives the best value, right? And so what you do and how you market it. The first thing that we really have to kind of identify is, what makes you different. Your value props. These are the types of things that people are looking for. If you're, say, a painter, what makes you a different painter than, all the other painting companies, across the Wasatch Front? What makes you different from anybody else that does paint? Why is it better for me to go to you than just buy a can of, paint at Lowe's or Home Depot? And so these are types of things that we need to think about, really kind of and get in depth of why really people are getting to you. And once we understand that, we can then kind of go forward. And so again, what makes you different, and really talking about the benefits, where you add more value, and then I guess, what to share and how to share it. There's a lot of platforms out here nowadays, and we'll go through and we'll talk about, a majority of the platforms as we go on. But when you know your value props and how it benefits, you need to talk about it. More than that, you need other people to talk about it. That's where that word of mouth comes into play. And again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you have to share that stuff. I hear it all the time in meetings that I have, weekly, that businesses don't want to get on social media, businesses don't want to do any marketing, businesses haven't done any marketing. That may have been okay, 10 years ago. Nowadays, it's super, super tough to do that unless you're a giant company and you have something that's truly, truly, truly unique. It's very, very hard to do that without social media, without having a digital presence, without all these modern social media helps. And then the next question is where to share things. There's a billion different avenues that we can go through, whether or not it's social media, and there's probably, 6 or 7 different social media platforms, whether or not it's mailers, newspaper, there's a bunch of different stuff. And so where you need to put your stuff to get it in front of your target audience, we'll kind of go over that as well. So we've talked about our product, we've talked about, really kind of getting down to the brass tacks of what our company is about, what our value props are about. Now we have to match that to our target market, right? So obviously and this is a lot of stuff that you guys obviously know. You guys have been in business for a while, or if you haven't been in business for a while, you guys have probably done a lot of research in trying to figure out who your target market is. And the only reason I'm going over this is all a great place to start to figure out what kind of marketing and efforts you need to do to kind of get to that next level, right? So again, just taking a step back and looking at who and making sure that your target market is where you're marketing, right? Social media has made it easier than ever to reach out to those targets so that they hit the right people. We don't really have to, spend $30,000 on a TV commercial and reach, hundreds of thousands of people, and really only 1% of those people are potentially looking for our service. We don't have to do that anymore. We can get a lot more targeted with social media. Another thing to look at when you're talking about your target market is, has it evolved? No doubt all of you guys have been affected by COVID. And I have met with a lot of companies that have told me that their market, the people that are actually, buying their services, has changed. And it's not so drastic that they can't, figure it out, but it has evolved to the point where, maybe, I guess, for example, design, home design and home renovation. A lot of people that are buying that stuff right now would not have bought it unless COVID happened, right? They're sitting at their house looking at this room that had been decorated 10 years ago, and they decided to decorate it. And so now, that target market has changed from people who are watching how-to videos and this and this and that, to people who really just have homes, or people who, are, at Home Depot, or, and using that geolocation to kind of find that information. So has it evolved, and to what degree is it evolved, and how are you gonna, change to reach that new audience? And then the biggest thing that I can kind of talk about definitely with your target market is, what do they value? A lot of times we as business owners will look at our market and go, well, this is what I think that they need. This is what I perceive that is just a great value. And then when it gets down to, the brass tacks, the client, or the target market, really doesn't value that specific thing. It is a value, yes, but it's not something that people are actually looking for. And so, we can fix that one of two ways, right? We can give them an experience and allow them to see that value that you think is a value, right? Or we need to transition to show them the value that we know that they find valuable, and then give them the value that we think is valuable to make the sale, right? So making sure that we're actually reaching the values that our clients actually are needing. Going on to section 2, talking about where marketing was. I mean, all of you guys have probably heard, some quote along the lines of, looking into the past will help us know what to do and what not to do in the future, anything like that. And so looking at the past of, the history of marketing really kind of will help us to figure out, where things are going. For example, paper ads, mailers, newspapers, billboards even. A lot of those are becoming, outdated. I know that you can find, news on the internet, and there's a lot of ads on that. Mailers are, great, and I don't want to like shoot down any of these marketing tactics, because I'm not saying that they work. I'm not saying that they don't work. It depends on the company, and again, understanding who you are, who your company is, and who your target market is going to determine what avenue you're going to use. But in the past, you could buy 30,000 mailers and send it out to people, and people loved getting mail. People loved getting the stuff, and so they used their mailers. They would bring in their mailers. I talked to a company just a couple weeks ago. They were a painting company that said that they sent out mailers. They sent them out, once a year, and this year nobody brought in the mailers. Nobody did, and it's because of all the mailers that we sent out 10 years ago. People now look through their mail, and if it's not an enclosed envelope that looks like it's important or a bill, everything ends up in the trash. And so you have to be careful not to be throwing away your money, because that's kind of what you get, what you could be doing. Another thing is newspapers. I know that a lot of the older generation reads newspapers. I got, sucked into reading a newspaper the other day, and I didn't know why, because I'd never read a newspaper. I saw it on the table, read it for a second, read it for 30 seconds, I was done with it. A lot of newspaper ads don't work. Yellow pages, I haven't seen a phone book in years. So making sure that you're not, staying in that stone age, you're looking forward to, new trends and things like that is important. Billboards are awesome if you have a following, I guess. A lot of billboards are more of a reminder. That's why Coke still uses billboards. That's why a lot of nonprofits use billboards, is because it's a reminder. Driving down the freeway after a long, hard day of work, you see a Coke billboard, you go, oh yeah, Coke would be really nice. Next time you're in a store, you're gonna buy Coke. And so billboards are awesome. If you're a new company though, it's really, really tough, because you're not big enough to be known. Homey does a lot of billboards, but Homey is huge. They spend $15 million on a single video for marketing, right? But they're not putting all their eggs in one basket with billboards. They're doing, social media, they're doing commercials, they're doing a bunch of stuff. But so just make sure that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. Billboards are awesome. Sometimes they're not the greatest for new companies. Moving on to commercials. Commercials back 10 years ago were the way that, the way that we did business. If you could afford a commercial, that was awesome. You're going to get in front of so many people. Nowadays, I don't know one person who actually pays for live TV. They pay for Hulu, they pay for Netflix, they pay for, HBO Max, and there's all these new ones coming out, with Disney Plus and Discovery Plus and all these new streaming platforms that you can watch, and there's no commercials. I'm going to do that, right? Even on YouTube, I hate watching ads. I just want to watch my content. And so commercials are being weeded out. They are popping up, on Hulu, and you can pay to get rid of the commercials if you want. But the amount of people that you're going to be sending that out to, and the amount of people who actually are looking for that service, are probably it's not very high. And a lot of commercials are very expensive, especially if you're trying to go, commercial grade quality, where people are filming, with red cameras, and they have lights, and they're renting out an entire studio or an entire area. It can get extremely pricey, and you're probably looking at no less than $15,000 for a commercial grade video a lot of the times. And we can talk about video. We'll talk about video at the end of the presentation as well. The next, I guess, history of marketing thing we'll talk about is the word of mouth. Now, word of mouth is incredible. Word of mouth is how things should really be done. If you have a great service, and say Tony has a great experience with you, he's going to tell people, and that's fantastic, right? And back in the day, when we were meeting every Thursday night with our group of friends for poker, or before COVID, even when we actually saw people, word of mouth hit a little differently. Nowadays, you may see, 5 of your friends even, and out of those 5 friends, how many people actually needed that service that Tony got? Maybe 1, right? If you're painting a house, if you're again, if you're a painter, you get your house painted, and you're only going to bring it up if somebody goes, "Oh, you painted your house," and you go, "Oh yeah, I use this guy," or, "Hey, do you know anybody who paints homes?" Those are really the only times that comes up. And so word of mouth is great, and a lot of businesses have grown for years and years and years with word of mouth. Nowadays, word of mouth is hard because we're not getting that face-to-face interaction anymore. I mean, take this for example. We're on a Zoom meeting instead of face-to-face. And a lot of businesses is being done over Zoom. And so, make sure that we're looking at that and trying to figure out how we can still use word of mouth with nowadays technology. And I'll also go over that and how to navigate those waters here in a little bit. So now that we've talked about the past, let's kind of talk about the future a little bit, or I guess nowadays, and potentially going into the future. So, again, in the last 10, 15 years, marketing has changed. I mean, in the last year, marketing has changed because COVID has kind of, determined it. That doesn't change the fact that there are still key principles of marketing that we still have to, I guess, live by, right? And this does get changed a little bit now that we have what's it called? We have target marketing on Facebook and everything like that. But really, we're getting down to again, the brass tacks is we're working on this funnel, this marketing funnel. We want to spread this awareness, and we want to to everybody. We want everybody to know us. A company that did this incredibly well was Purple Mattress. They put out those really funny commercials that I think Big Door created for them. I mean, they were $300,000 videos that they made, but they created incredible awareness. Everybody knows Purple now, and everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody has wondered what it's like to sleep on one of those little purple rubber mattress thing. I've only heard good things about it, but I still haven't tried it. Still want to try it, right? Which brings me to my next part, is interest. Once we get that awareness, we have to make people interested. Again, Purple does an incredible job with this, with their shock and awe effect on their videos. Talking about, I don't know if you've seen this, but there was one of them that they cut open a pillow and said that there was actually garbage in pillows. There was actually garbage in mattress, and they pulled out all this fluff. That got me interested in going, well, what's in my pillow? Should I be using a different pillow? Right? And it got me considering, which is the next part in the funnel, to potentially buy something. Right? It definitely made me curious. Have I bought something yet? No, because it's very expensive, and I'm kind of tight with my money. But it definitely got me considering, and it was great marketing on their part. It got a lot of people to consider it. They showed a lot of intent to buy stuff, and even people who show intent, they go to their website, they're gonna leave. A lot of people are gonna go to try to learn things and leave. And they usually go to places where they can learn more about it. They go to reviews on YouTube, they go to reviews on Google, and then eventually they buy, right? And so we're trying to capture a large audience and then funnel them down into buying it, right? And whether or not that's taking them from YouTube, taking them from, I mean, again, even mailers, if you really, if that's how you've seen success, keep trying that. But make sure that you're also looking forward to other marketing things and working that into your marketing strategies. But this is really what we're talking about, is capturing a lot of people and then sending them down the funnel into hopefully, purchasing from us in the future. So let's go over some marketing tools, kind of getting into depth in some of these marketing tools. The things that we'll talk about is Google, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, email campaigns, YouTube, some TikTok, blogging, social ads, PPC, word of mouth, and reviews. And we'll go over, these again. We're not going to go super in depth. I'm not going to show you how to post on Instagram. If you need help on posting on Instagram, use YouTube University. It'll teach you. But we are going to kind of go over the fundamentals and, big parts of their algorithm, so that you can kind of understand that more in depth so that when you are creating your social media or your marketing strategy, you have these in your back pocket and you can kind of more understand how to use these tools. So the first one we'll talk about is Google. Now, the biggest thing to understand about Google is they need to be right to be Google. If Google was not right 98% of the time, it would cease to be Google. And because I know that Google is a multi-billion-dollar company, I know that it's right a lot of the times. Even going to, looking at their AI, their, OK Google and stuff and things like that. When I ask Google, it has the answer for me a lot of the time, probably 90% of the time. Same thing with, businesses. If I'm looking for good places to eat, I'm just going to ask Google, where can I get something to eat in the area? And it's going to give me that stuff. Now, with that knowledge of Google needs to be right to be Google, if we can help Google be correct, then Google helps us in return, right? So things like SEO, search engine optimization. Now, there's a lot that go into search engine optimization, and I'm sure that most business owners have heard of it. It's tough. There's a lot of stuff with it. Google makes a lot of different changes to, optimize things like that to make sure everybody's doing it correctly and all this stuff, but sometimes we get lost. The biggest things to know about search engine optimization, again, is if you can help Google be correct in giving people what they need, then you're doing it right. So things like your phone number, your name, your address, your business hours, all that stuff, especially on Google My Business, will help Google be correct. And when I'm talking about SEO as well, we're talking about website and Google SEO. On your website, you should be having, when you're having your website be created, make sure that your developer is coding on the back end of your website to make sure that your business name, your address, your phone number, your business hours, all of these things are being coded correctly so that Google can read it. If Google can read it, Google can share you more, which helps you get more people to your website, which hopefully, will get more people down the funnel to purchasing your product or service. Google My Business. Again, creating a Google My Business is extremely important nowadays. Google My Business houses a lot of information, especially if Google can read your information on your website. That will make Google My Business even more effective. So that when people do, those voice searches or even just a search on the search engine, then it will allow you to come up more frequently, right? This is also a place where Google houses their reviews. It houses pictures. It houses, and I don't know if many of you know this, but you can actually put videos now on your Google My Business. Me and the owner of Social Paragon saw that, there's going to be some changes that Google is going to be made with video because they bought YouTube, a couple of years ago, and they allowed Google video to be on Google My Business. I think that they're going to allow that video to be thumbnailed onto the front of your Google My Business. So when somebody looks you up and clicks on that, they're actually going to be able to meet you and create that connection, which again we'll talk about in a little bit. Creating video and that connection. Using Google for paid ads. Paid ads are awesome. This is where we can really get to our target audience, especially if they're looking for maybe our competitor. I can't tell you how many times I've looked up, a sporting goods store, maybe Al's Sporting Goods or, a Big Five, and their competitor had an ad at the very top of the page. So, it's definitely worth looking into. The only thing with ads is sometimes they are expensive, especially depending on the keyword that you're wanting to use, as well as with Google Ads, you really kind of have to have an expert to know how to really get the most out of those Google Ads. So make sure that if you ever do decide to run those Google Ads, make sure you have the capital to do so. To make sure that you're casting a large enough net, and as well as you have somebody know what they're doing. The last thing we'll talk about Google is their algorithm. Now, Google changes their algorithm all the time. It's forever, evolving, and this is by design. Back 10 years ago, when Google, started doing searches by keywords, people were able to trick their algorithm so that people were going to sites that were not correct. For example, back when Britney Spears was big, before she shaved her head and stuff, um, she or people would, people who were creating these websites would write Britney Spears on the back, on, just the back page of their website a billion times in white, and then the background of the page is also white. So we couldn't tell that it was, it said Britney Spears, but Google read that. And so anybody who typed in Britney Spears looking for maybe her music or a video on YouTube would actually end up on, a site about timeshares. And so Google realized that, and so now you can't do that. And so it's always changing, it's always growing. And so looking up, kind of what Google deems necessary and their algorithm is very helpful. And you can find, just YouTube, again, just let's use YouTube University. And YouTube, how can I use Google's algorithm to help me? Again, there are simple things that Google is looking for, and if you're doing them correctly, it's going to work. Things like link building, having links to go from your website to other people's website, and vice versa. Google loves that. Something to know, and we'll go into this again a little bit more in depth, is all these social media sites build relationships, and they are based on relationships. And so if Google can see that you have relationships with other websites, they want to share you more. As well as, going back to, the name, address, and phone number, that's all stuff that Google deems necessary in their algorithm to make you more shareable. And so things like that are awesome. Having pictures on your website, having blogs on your website. And right now, what's really important is videos on your website. Again, Google bought YouTube for, I think it was $2 billion, which was, I think, I don't think it was enough. YouTube is massive, but if Google is going to buy something that is video based 100% for $2 billion, we should also probably care a little bit more about video with our business, right? So moving on, let's talk about Instagram. Instagram and relationships. Instagram is all about relationships. We post videos and pictures so that other people can see what we're doing, so that other people can like them, so other people can respond to them. We're basically creating relationships. Now, one of the biggest things that Instagram looks at is, and we'll use, Jenna and John right now, just for example. Jenna owns a yoga or a goat yoga studio. I don't know if any of you have seen that, but it's pretty cool. They do yoga with goats. But she owns a studio, and John is a very active person looking for something new. If John is scrolling through his feed and sees a video of Jenna, having a goat on her back while she's in some yoga pose, and John goes, "Oh, that's really awesome," and he likes that. If he likes it, or if he comments and says it's very interesting, that's cool, and then Jenna responds back to that like, or that, or more importantly, the comment. Instagram sees those two as knowing each other. Instagram sees those people as having a potential relationship outside of the social platform. And so what happens now is John, because he commented on Jenna's post and Jenna commented on John's comment, they will both start to see more of each other at the top of their feed more regularly. And so when we're talking about Instagram, we want to make content that is relatable, that people can either comment or like. And then we also have to be ready to like and comment back on their interaction with us. So basically going back to, Instagram and relationships, you need to be able to, comment on that stuff so Instagram can see that you are in a relationship with these people so that they share you more. That's the biggest thing that I can say, and consistency. Be posting with consistency, either videos or pictures. We need to be consistent so that Instagram's algorithm can see that you're serious about growing your following, and so they'll show you more if you're more consistent, right? Posting a few times a day or a few times a week is awesome. I don't know if any of you know Gary Vaynerchuk or heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, but he talks about posting 30 pieces of content a day. That's pretty crazy. That's a lot, especially for new businesses or small businesses. I mean, he has an entourage of people following him around and filming him at all times, and then making content of that stuff. But us as littler companies don't have those resources, and so be posting quite frequently, and then ramp that up as you get bigger and bigger. Oh, sorry, I hit the wrong button. Okay, yep, Facebook. Facebook is still a thing, and Facebook is still very prevalent, and is still a great place to hit your target market. The things that we do need to understand about Facebook is they are older users. A lot of people who use Facebook are 35 to 60. A lot of kids that are younger use TikTok and Instagram. And to be honest, a lot of people who are younger don't even use Instagram. They only use TikTok nowadays. And we'll talk about all that stuff here in a little bit. But there's a lot of ads on Facebook as well, so that you could be drowned in ads. You still can do video and images on Facebook, which is super awesome. They're adapting just as well as everybody else should be. And what's really cool about Facebook is you can do targeted ads, and you can target these people with things like their income, their likes, their dislikes. Facebook has anything that you've ever posted on Facebook, they've kept. They've made a list. They have giant data centers that hold all this data, so that they can then allow us as businesses to target more people to make it more relevant for them. So Facebook ads are awesome. Sometimes it can be spendy, but they're really awesome. Again, make sure that you fully understand what you're doing on Facebook. It is extremely easy to lose a lot of money with targeted ads on Facebook if you don't know what you're doing. So look it up on YouTube. It's not super hard, but you can mess up if you're not careful. So make sure you either know what you're doing or you know somebody who knows what they're doing when you're dealing with Facebook ads. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is awesome if you are a B2B company. We are more of a B2B company with our videography. So we use LinkedIn quite often. We post on LinkedIn sometimes. We'll reach out to people on LinkedIn all the time, to see if we can't help them with their video needs. So it's a great place to really kind of hone in on the B2B if that's where your space is. They can also do targeted ads, and right now, well, last time I checked, LinkedIn ads are cheaper than other platforms, because they're wanting people to use their ads. Here you can target people with titles. Say you wanted to target the business owners, CEOs, presidents, all that stuff. You can target those people on LinkedIn. The biggest challenge that I've found with LinkedIn is that CEOs, vice presidents, all these people don't spend a lot of time on social media. That includes LinkedIn. They have a LinkedIn page. Some of them don't spend a lot of time, so do keep that in mind. But you can definitely reach marketing managers. You can reach lower level employees fairly easy on LinkedIn, because it is important and they know it, and so they're on it. And so LinkedIn is an incredible space and platform to to find new business if you're in that B2B space. Email campaigns. This is a great way to give information and give added value. A lot of people, if they're interested in what you're doing, they will subscribe to an email list. This allows them to see what you're what you actually do to get different information. I've subscribed to many email campaigns that deal with DIY stuff, do it yourself, lumber making. I don't do it. I don't do lumber, but it's fascinating to me. And I have bought a blueprint from the guy who makes the stuff. And so this is a great way to capture a lot of people if you're giving excellent value, at the place that they can put in their emails to so that you can send it to them. It's a great way to stay in front of your audience on a more consistent basis that's not annoying. There's a difference between outbound marketing and inbound marketing. We'll talk about that a little bit too if we have time. But not always being in front of people's faces, not always posting so much on Instagram, right? Like sometimes we can overburden our followers and our potential clients with information because we need to be making the information. Email campaigns once a month or fortnightly every 2 weeks is a great way to just kind of feed them. Make a drip campaign that just stays in front of people and makes them, gives them information to the point where they are ready to buy from you. And it's a great way to lead potential clients to more valuable information. Lead them to a YouTube page, lead them to a different landing page on your website, that gives different information. If people are looking at your emails and you can tell what your open rate is, if people are looking at something, keep doing it and give them more information. Okay. YouTube, the big one. Video is by far the future. I foresee a time where, I don't know if you've ever seen Ready Player One, but I foresee a time that virtual reality is huge. And that's all done with, that can be done with video. There will be a lot of people take in content all the time on YouTube. 2 billion users a month on YouTube. That's a huge percentage of the world's population. So if you don't have a YouTube channel, I would advise you to get one. YouTube University is real. It's so real. If you are a painter and there is something that people keep asking you, and it's not something per se that's a secret or a trade secret or anything like that, teach people how to do it. Teach people how to not get bubbles. Teach people how to go to the very top of the ceiling down to the floor in one line so you don't have random strokes everywhere. These are just little things that you can teach people that when they watch it, they go, okay, awesome. Randy's painting taught me how to do this. And then they go to actually start painting and they go, this is going to take forever. Well, who taught me? Well, Randy's painting. I'm going to call him, right? So as we're creating this content, this video content, it's very important to give away value. Obviously, don't give away your trade secrets. Don't give away something that will take you out of business, but give value. Teach people how to do things. YouTube is an awesome place for long form videos. YouTube is learning now that, or I guess has learned, a few months to a year ago, that that long form videos are really, really booming on YouTube. Another thing is YouTube loves them because they can put more ads on longer videos, 10, 20, 30-minute videos that has great information. YouTube loves and they share a lot more. YouTube is also where I would keep your video library. Any videos that you guys create, and again, I would recommend creating videos all the time, but any videos you guys create should be housed on YouTube. When you house a video on YouTube and then link that video onto your website and embed that onto your website, that's a link. So we're going back to Google's algorithm and we're creating a link onto your website, which Google likes, especially if it's with YouTube, because they're the same people. House any video that you're going to put on TikTok on YouTube. House any video that you make, house it on YouTube. The more videos that you have, the more YouTube likes you. The longer they are, the more YouTube likes you. Obviously, don't just ramble on about random stuff on YouTube, but make sure that you're offering actual value on your page. And you could see some awesome things on YouTube with your traffic. Again, going back to Google owning YouTube, if Google says that something is important, we probably should think it's important too. I can't tell you how many businesses I meet with a week that say that they don't do video and they don't think they need to. And I just want to tell them that they're wrong. That video again is the way of the future. How many of you have actually sat down with potential clients in the last 6 months to a year? It's not very often, unless you're seeking it out. But nobody's going to come in. Everybody's scared of the coronavirus. Everybody, It's a different time. And if you're not making video to reach these people, you could be missing out. Making videos, telling people that you're still open, making videos, teaching people how to do things at home is incredibly valuable, because people are at home, people are doing stuff by themselves. But again, if you're showing just a tiny bit of what you do, and then they actually get to the point where they go, okay, well, I actually need to do it. I don't know how to actually do it, or this is a bigger job than necessary. They're going to call you because you're the one that taught them. And so keep that in mind. Make videos. I don't care if you make videos with us or if you make videos by yourself. Make videos. TikTok. This is for younger audiences. If you want to continue staying in business 10, 20 years from now, I would get on TikTok. You know, this younger generation still needs all these things. They still need a painter when they grow up, you know, and buy a home. I actually know a painter who is on TikTok who has millions of people watching him paint and watching him mix paint. It's incredible what people watch on TikTok. If you have an idea, try it. Just try it. Start a TikTok account and try it. I also know another girl who's getting paid from TikTok who dances around in a bear costume. Now, if you did that as a mortgage company, right, and showed that you're a fun mortgage company, all these young people who are going to be buying homes in the next, you know, 5-6 years are going to remember you, especially if TikTok is still around, which I don't see it going anywhere. They're going to remember you and they're going to use you because you dance in a bear costume. And that's what this younger generation, they like to be entertained. So I would start making videos on TikTok. Just do it. Just have fun with it. It's easy. It's fun to create the videos. And you know, I definitely think it could benefit 90% of businesses out there. It's not that hard to come up with content. If you want to, you know, some ideas, watch TikTok. Watch what people are doing. There's only one person who has an original idea, and another 300 people profit from it. Copy people on TikTok, maybe put a little bit of your flair on it, definitely can help. Blogs and websites, we've kind of talked about websites. Make sure that you're optimized. Blogs are an awesome way to get people to your website and to keep them there for a little bit. If you, for say, you know, we'll take my passion, for example, facial hair. Again, I'm a facial hair advocate. I actually do have a mustache blog that I don't post on as much as I should, but you know, I have had people tell me that they've read all of my blogs and I don't know them. People will go to your website just to learn information if it's available. So make it available. Put a blog on your website. It doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. You are the master of your business. You know your business the most. Make some content. You know, write a blog about it. Have somebody write a blog about it. There are a lot of ways to do this. But put just valuable content on your website, you know, and put a video on your blog as well. So people have the opportunity to either watch the video or read, because there are people still out there who like to read. So keep that in mind. This is all just kind of creating content. You should be a content creation machine to really, really thrive in today's, you know, digital marketing era. Social ads. Most platforms allow social ads. Again, social ads are cheaper than, you know, say some pay per click ads. You know, you could be spending $3 to $5 on per click on Google, and I know that can go higher. But on social ads, especially maybe LinkedIn, you know, you could be dealing with, you know, cents per impression. You know, and the more that people see you, the more that people understand what you do, the more likely that you're going to send people down that funnel. So, you know, look into social ads, if, you know, and they're not that expensive, you know, $100 here, $100 there can go a long ways. I actually, I guess a quick story, Social Paragon makes these local business highlight videos, which reminds me, if any of you want to be highlighted, let me know. We can definitely get it taken care of. But we do local business highlight videos with real estate agents. Now we have a real estate agent that actually, they get these videos and he posts them and puts $50 behind them every week. you know, for depending on the video and what he wants to do with it. But a lot of the real estate agents that do this with us, you know, they get, you know, a couple, you know, 10, 20, maybe 100 views on these videos on their social media. Well, this agent gets 50 to 80,000 views on their social media with $50 a week. So social ads do work. A lot of people see them. A lot of people know them. You know, look into social ads. They're cost effective and they're definitely worth it. PPC, again, this is pay per click. The basics behind this, and you can see it if you look up anything on Google, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 ads before you actually get to the organic content. You basically pay for a visit. People click on the link and you pay for it. Every click costs a predetermined amount of money. It is somewhat affordable. It's still a great way, you know, or you know, if it wasn't a great way, these giant companies like Amazon or Purple or all these companies would not do it. They do have a high bounce rate a lot of the times. A bounce rate is basically when somebody goes to your website and leaves immediately, because a lot of things that you search for have ads at the beginning. If I'm looking for something and it looks like something that I just searched for, I'm gonna click on it and go, oh, this is what I want, and I'm gonna leave. And that's what a lot of people do. And so keep in mind you potentially could have a higher bounce rate, especially if the keywords and things are not honed in enough. That's why I'm saying it, which brings me to the next point. It takes an expert. You can do it. You can, you know, potentially get some extra traffic to your website. However, don't do it 100% by yourself. Learn, get educated before you do this. I have seen thousands, tens of thousands of dollars be thrown away on PPC and nothing came of it because they didn't fully know what was happening. So just make sure you look into it. Make sure you're talking to experts about it. Look it up on YouTube University. Again, it's a great way to learn things. You can learn anything on YouTube, but definitely use that. Word of mouth, and we're almost running out of time, and we'll kind of go through this. Word of mouth. Again, it's worked for years. You know, perfect storm is, you know, people talk about it. They come to you, but that's perfect storm. Nowadays, when, you know, people only have 5 people, 6 people they see on average in a week, it's not super viable right now. If you can film somebody and put their testimonial on Facebook, and then they're able to share it with their 2,000 Facebook friends, you know, quote unquote friends, then they go, oh yeah, Jerry used this person. Well, I actually need to do it. Well, I'm gonna call him, right? So we're taking this concept of word of mouth and we're 10xing it with social media platforms. That's the same thing with Instagram. They're gonna share it because you made a video of them. Who doesn't like that? So keep that in mind as well. It doesn't take that much to make a testimonial video. Take out your phone. Most phones film in 4K and film it and post it, and that's it. Reviews. Everybody is looking at reviews nowadays. Make sure that you're getting reviews. Make sure that you're that they're a part of, you know, your everyday tasks. Reviews are a big part of SEO on Google. If you have good reviews, they're going to share you more. It's okay to have, you know, a 4.5 and above. You know, it's okay not to have a perfect 5. That's what I'm saying. A lot of times with a perfect 5, people think it's too good to be true. You know, people think that maybe you fabricated it. So having a 4.5 is great. 4.7, fantastic. Get as many as you can. Again, people don't usually buy right away anymore. They look at it, they research it, they look at reviews, and they buy it. Same thing on Amazon, right? People look at reviews all the time because they don't want to lose their money. They don't want to be taken advantage of. So they're going to look at that review. Same thing with services on Google. They're going to do the same thing. The biggest things to remember as we're kind of wrapping up is Google needs to be right. If you can help Google be right, Google will help you. Knowing best practices are the way to go. Best practices with SEO, with Instagram, you know, putting emojis on Instagram, and this is all stuff that you can find on YouTube. Again, you know, we don't have a lot of time. I really just wanted to paint a very broad picture and really kind of give you guys a general kind of base to grow off of for your marketing. But look for those best practices. If you don't know, YouTube it. Best practices for social media, best practices for Instagram, best practices for YouTube. It's all there. Build relationships on social media. It's all about relationships. Whether or not you're on Instagram, Google, YouTube, it's all about relationships. It's all about relationships in business. So if you can build relationships before people even walk in and talk to you, you win. Make sure your website is optimized properly. Again, use social to 10x referral-based business. Harness as many reviews as possible. Create content. I can't tell you enough. Just create content. You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be perfect. Create it. And especially video content is definitely kind of the way to go. And just really quick, I guess a little bit about video. Google cares about video, so should we. Video gets an average about 152 times more engagement than pictures on Instagram. That's a big difference. Making video content matters. People are going to care about video. People are going to watch video. People are going to spend time and waste time on their video. And if you can come up, you potentially have, a new client. So keep that in mind. Social media loves videos. People retain an average, people retain about 90% of what they see on a video. So if you're given awesome content, awesome information, they're going to remember that if it's in a video rather than reading it. People are in a hurry and video helps them go a little bit quicker. Creating value with videos can lead people to go onto your website and stay for a longer amount of time, which again leads people down this funnel to where they are going to buy it. Creating video can place you as an expert in your field. Again, if you're teaching people how to do stuff and they get to a point where they're going to actually do something, you're the person they're going to go to. You're the expert. You've taught them. Why would they go to anybody else? Make video content, valuable content, so that people can learn from you. Again, video is still somewhat of a newish concept. So start now and you're probably going to be ahead of your competitors. I don't know many plumbers who make videos. I don't know many, contractors who make videos. If you start, you're probably going to be one of the first people, definitely in the valley, that creates video content. So definitely do that. Again, start creating video. Just start. It can't be that bad. You're going to be, your harshest critic. If you need help, again, Social Paragon is the company I work for, and we offer unlimited video for $4.95 a month. A lot of people don't offer that. Usually, video is $22,000 to $2,500 for one video, where we do it for $4.95 a month, and we can get a bunch of them for you. So if you want to try us out, definitely we would love to help you create that content to help you kind of get to that next level. But again, you don't need us to create video. I want that to be very, very clear that you can create video by yourself. We would love to help, but you can do it by yourself and it can be successful. You just have to actually start. Just create it. Create content that adds value to your clients. Again, it's all about adding value. It's all about creating those relationships. Introduce yourself. If I could say one thing about, an about video that introduces you and your business, people are going to see that and they're going to create a connection with you before they even come in and do any business with you. So make those connections, with video. And then look for, trends, to copy on social media. It helps a lot. So I know that we went a little over time, 55 minutes. So I guess we can open up the floor for a little Q&A if we still have time. Josie, do we want to do
Sorry,
Q&A?
yeah, let's do Q&A. Sorry, I was just unmuting and I checking in the chat. I'm not seeing any comments in the chat. So okay. I think that if anybody has any questions, feel free to write it in the chat or even unmute yourself and you can go ahead and ask your question. If not, we'll definitely, I'm going to try and, I've got the recording from the first one that we got disconnected and I'll try and combine the two recordings and we'll be posting that later.
Sweet. And then as well as if anybody, and anybody who is, going to look at this later, here's my email. If anybody actually does need, any help with anything, I'd love to help them out. Give them more information, things like that. So if you do need it, there's my information, my email. I'd love to help. But yeah, so if anybody has any questions, we'll stay on for a little bit and answer those for you.
Well, thank you, Tyler, for putting on this wonderful webinar and giving so much information.
Yep. No worries. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I mean, this was fun. This was cool.
Since I'm still not getting any chat questions or. Oh, look, we got one.
Oh, what are my thoughts on Pinterest?
Yep, there you go.
Pinterest is awesome. If I'm being honest, I think that Pinterest is all, I spend a lot of time on Pinterest. You can learn a lot of things on Pinterest. However, Pinterest is kind of a different animal altogether. That's kind of why I didn't bring it up. Pinterest is very niche. A lot of girls use Pinterest. I think more guys should use Pinterest if I'm being honest, because I mean, girls are going to use Pinterest. They're going to put what they like on Pinterest. You know, birthday lists, Christmas lists are all on there. That's what I think you should use it for. But Pinterest is evolving as well. You know, you can put videos on Pinterest that actually autoplay, especially if you have a product-based business. Pinterest is awesome. You know, show people what you're doing, show people how it's made. You know, obviously don't show them, you know, that it's super easy if that's what it is. But you know, show people little snippets, you know, get people excited. Even, you know, if you do a service, you know, I mean, I've seen heating and plumbing, you know, companies who use, you know, Pinterest. So it's definitely something that you can use, and it's definitely, you know, a really awesome platform.
So we have Sarah said thank you, and it looks like you're got a question. Can we add you on LinkedIn? I'm a student at, and I don't know how to pronounce Le Sorbonne, and I need to get contacts after events I attend. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can totally add me on LinkedIn. I'll definitely I'll respond to you. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So yeah, add me on LinkedIn. It should just be under Tyler Von Hatten. V as in Victor, ONHATTEN is my last name. And then yeah, definitely you're welcome to everybody that is here. Yeah, I definitely like doing this stuff. So.
And then I put my email in the chat as well, just if you need that as a contact. I'm from Mill Creek and helping run the webinar. So if it looks like it's going, so hopefully it'll come.
Yeah, I see your email.
Perfect.
Yep.
Let's see. Got some thank yous and.
No problem. Again, if you have any more questions, my email's on there as well. You know, you can definitely reach out. I'm more than happy to schedule a meeting with you, or even just answer questions on the phone. I'm more than happy to do that.
Got some more, just lots of thank yous. And Tyler, we really do appreciate the time that you put into this and all the great information that you shared.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Thanks for putting it on.
Yeah, and if anybody has any questions or needs Tyler's email, I can always shoot it over to you if you have, because you should have my email from the event. So, okay.
Perfect.
We'll go ahead and end the recording, and it's been great.